I drew these pictures just to make one last point. These actually aren't histograms of actual data. I just drew these pictures. And I drew these to show that you can actually have different combinations of skewness and kurtosis. For example, this one right here looks like it has a positive skewness and a positive kurtosis because, well, it peaks at the left end and it trails off to the right, which means it has a positive skewness. And it also has this tall and narrow peak, which means it has a positive kurtosis. This one looks like more of a positive skewness and a negative kurtosis because it peaks at the left end and trails off to the right, so it has a positive skewness, but it's flattened out, which means it has a negative kurtosis. This one over here looks like a combination of a negative skewness and a positive kurtosis. It has a negative skewness because it trails off toward the left end, and it has a positive kurtosis because it has a tall and narrow peak, just like this graph over here. This one right here would be a combination of a negative skewness and a negative kurtosis because it has a negative skewness because it peaks at the left and trails off to the right, just like it did up here, but it's flattened out, which means it has a negative kurtosis. So over here we have positive kurtosis, no, I'm sorry, positive skewness and positive kurtosis. Since it trails off to the right, so it has a positive skewness, and it has a tall and narrow peak, so it has a positive kurtosis. This one is a positive skewness, and a negative kurtosis. It has a positive skewness because it peaks at the left and trails off to the right, just like this graph did. But it has a negative kurtosis because it's flattened out. This one over here has a negative skewness and a positive kurtosis. It has a negative skewness because it peaks at the right end and it trails off toward the left. That's why it has a negative skewness. And it has a positive kurtosis because it has this tall and narrow peak. This one down here would be a negative skewness and a negative kurtosis. It has a negative skewness because it peaks at the right end and trails off to the left, just like this graph did. But it has a negative kurtosis because it's flattened out.